Welcome to Greenbrier County, West Virginia, where we have enough water now to do us. This video, I'm just going to show you some of the places that I like to go that I'm probably not going to go for a while because water has just saturated everything. Starting right before our last camping trip where I got ran out by that horrible storm in the middle of the night, we had snow and rain up to that point. Once that night came, there hasn't been many outdoor activities. We had that horrible thunderstorm that night with torrential rains, nearly flooded out the campsite, knocking trees over with the high winds. And then a couple days later, we had 11 inches of heavy snow. That sat on the ground, and then one day it became 50 degrees and that started to melt, and it rained on top of that and that soaked it up. And then yesterday started the torrential rains, and I think we fared a lot better than places like Kentucky and parts of Virginia and Tennessee, but we've got a lot of water here in this side of Greenbrier County, and it's starting to go down. I don't know if you can see where the snow line and the mud line are, but it's started to go down since last night, but there's not going to be many outdoor activities. This is Allegheny Creek here on Route 92 in Greenbrier County, and normally this is just a little trout stream, but it's rolling pretty hard, and as you can see, it's already come down 2 or 3 feet this morning. Let's go check out some of those places that I like to go. Now here's the sight to see. You see all this water running off the hill? This is normally a parking lot that we park in. And we had the other video where we went down in that pit, and where that concrete box is, there's a pipe that comes out near the bottom, and then there's a deep route that goes under. That's where we get our spring water at. The other problem that you see, we got more rain coming in today. They said another inch maybe, locally higher spots. But we still have this snowpack on the sides of the mountains. And this snow is getting extremely heavy and wet. And eventually, if it warms up any, this is all gonna dump into our creeks and streams too, which is just gonna add to the problems that we already have. This isn't a video about we're flooded out, and this is nothing like Western North Carolina. But more video about how saturated the ground really is at this point. Let's move on to go look at some other stuff. This is what we call the Blue Hole. Great little place, recreation area that people come out and swim in the summer, and a lot of fishing goes on here. This is in Blue Bend State Recreation Area. As you can see, the water, like I said, it's receded a good 2 to 3 feet already. It was crossing the road up here. They had the road closed. They still got the sign there because the water has just recently gone down, just to stop people from traveling through there when the water was high, because you don't know, turn around, don't drown. There's a lot in that. Don't cross high water, guys. You don't know when the road's been washed out underneath of it. This is a trail that Tracy and I like to walk in the Blue Bend Recreation Area. As you can see, at some point earlier this morning, late last night, the whole trail was flooded over. There's debris pushed clear back up in there. It would have been a tough hike. We're gonna have to walk through some water to get there. You can clearly see right over there is Allegheny Creek. We just walked through here, and you can see the mud line or the water line. A lot of debris. It was pretty violent at one point last night. This is actually a swinging bridge. If you wonder why I'm kind of bouncing around, it kind of bounces you around. Early this morning, you couldn't have gotten off this bridge because the exit was in the creek. Down deep in there is Anthony Creek that we just filmed and came along. I can hear it from up here and I can see it pretty well through the trees. I don't know if y'all can see it at all, but on this side of the mountain is Anthony Creek running towards the Greenbrier River. Now, if we cross over and look off the other side of the mountain, that's where the mighty Greenbrier River is. And she's high. I mean, I can see it. I don't know. We'll get down there and see where the bridge is and see how high it is. But I think we've been spared a major reckoning here in this eastern part of Greenbrier County. Because, I mean, we're close to the Virginia border. But I've seen some posts on social media where other places in Greenbrier County have just been hammered. And I feel for those people because we've lived through a flood. Our house flooded one time. And it's no fun. It makes a mess that you can't even imagine and causes destruction and cost. And let's just hope everybody's life was safe through this. Like I said, I'm not out in this video trying to say, hey, we've got it worse than anybody else. I'm just thinking that there's no outdoor recreation or activities for quite some time in this area. But we're gonna go down the mountain here and see what the Greenbrier River looks like and see what shape the Greenbrier River Trail's in if I can cross the bridge. To give you an idea of how much the river has come down, it's still high. But this up here is a pretty good elevation, and this mud line, you can see where the gravel's humped up and all that debris is, that's where the river had been. This that you're looking at right here is not normally the river. If anything, it's just a little stream that drains out that may be a foot or two wide in the summer. About covered the whole parking lot. It's gone down a lot. We are blessed beyond measure that the rain quit when it did. As far as the Greenbrier River Trail goes, it's a mess. We've still got wet standing snow. And when I say wet, I mean this stuff is just wet. You can almost squeeze the water out of it. The trail, you can see where the state maintenance vehicle went up through there. It's just splashing mud out on the snow because the whole trail is just soft. It's really soft right now. So I walked up here, up the trail ways, past the 14 marker, but I mean, this trail is beyond soft. Look at this. I think as much as I hate it, the guys accepted my challenge to come ride the trail. We had kind of planned to do that next weekend. We've got snow coming Tuesday and Wednesday, which will be another heavy, wet 4 or 6 inches of snow on the trail. And it's just not going to be in good riding condition at all. So we're here at the Allegheny Trail at the Laurel Run Trailhead, which I believe that makes section 4 that way and section 3 this way. But it's a little bit snowy here still. The snow's kind of deep here where you come out of the parking lot and cross over this creek, which is running a lot bigger than it normally does. And you can see how high it was at some point last night here. But the trail itself is still snow covered, and this snow is extremely wet. Let's go down to the bridge where you cross in and go up the mountain on section 3, just to see what those conditions are. can even hear me over the roar of that water. If you've ever hiked this section of the Allegheny, that's a lot of water. The bridge is slick, snow covered. Doesn't look like anybody else been foolish enough to be out here. The trail as it goes up this way, extremely wet, muddy. You can see the water run down. It'd be a very treacherous hike right now. I'm sliding between the rocks and woo, yeah, not a good day to hike the trail. Okay, what you're looking at here is a dispersed camping site. Along the road to Lake Sherwood up here in Greenbrier County, there's 8, 9, 10 dispersed camping sites that are just free National Forest camping sites that are roadside, and they're usually pretty nice. This one, my brother and I stayed in, a couple months ago, did some winter camping here. Wasn't any snow. The creek was low. We were walking out on big rocks in that creek there, and going down to the little channel and getting water and filtering it. And his tent was set up right here, which was relatively high compared to where the creek was at that point. So it'd be like a waterbed if it's up there now. Campfire ring. But man, this is Meadow Creek, and it is moving along. But it is just so wet that camping in any of these sites for a few months is probably going to be not type 1 or type 2 fun. It's going to be miserable because it's just wet. And I don't mind camping in the winter, don't mind camping in the snow. I don't even mind camping when it rains. But it's just rained so long and so much snow that it's just soaked in. And there's nowhere left for it to soak. Y'all may remember this spot from my last video. This is the campsite I stayed in when the major storm came through and ran me out in the middle of the night when the wind started blowing really hard and lightning was striking trees on the ridges. This is just a soup pile. I had my tent set up right here. Had the tarp stretched between the trees. And that was on high ground, but even it now, if you look, is just saturated. Out here in the where you park at is just saturated. Kind of disheartening because I plan to do a lot more winter camping and winter adventures living out here in Monongahela National Forest. But damn, I mean, it's wet. If you're an outdoor adventurer and you like coming up here to Monongahela, to Pocahontas County, Greenbrier County, it's wet, guys. I don't even know if I'd want to hammock camp because setting anything on the ground, it just starts to soak up water because the water has nowhere to go. Let's head on up to the lake and take a look at it. Beautiful view here at Lake Sherwood. As you can see, the lake is full. I mean, it's the little canal that runs under the bridge. It's over on the island. On the other side, the water's up in the ground over there. There's normally ground. The beach is full. Beach over there, very small. Water's clear up on the main beach here. And as you can see, some idiot decided to bring their vehicle up here and drive all through the grass, and they drove out across the beach, and it looks like they went out towards the boat dock and out behind the bathhouse here and up on the hillsides down on the other side. I mean, that's just disrespect for something that's beautiful for other people. I kind of hope you eventually get caught doing things like this. Well, I'm going to load up and head back down towards the house, because there are some extreme high winds now forecast that are going to start in about an hour with 50 and 60 mile an hour gusts. As you can see, the winds we had the other day, probably when I was camping and bailed, have broke limbs off trees. There's trees down all over the park. The other day I came up here and had to cut my way in to help a gentleman, a friend of mine, and he's 82 years old, get out because he lives on the road to Sherwood. So I cut a bunch of trees out of one lane and got him a free passage out. But I'd say when those winds kick up today, there's going to be a lot more trees come down. This ground is just so saturated, I can't see how the trees can hold root in it. It's just going to blow them out in the roads. And I'm going to head to the house where I'm a little bit safer and edit this video and get it up. I hope you've enjoyed it to this point. I will catch you next time. See ya. Peace out.